Peace, love, and blessings, party people. It's your resident STEM Gen civilian engineer and Tariq Cardiac back with your Black is STEM podcast, The STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. We do our very best to highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. On tonight's show, we have four-time STEM Files alum. We have fellow FOI in our Nation of Islam, our dear brother, holistic physician, Dr. Akili Muhammad, talking about 1 meal a day. Tune in for more of this dynamic podcast after this, family.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them heavy.
All praises due to Allah. I love that intro. I feel like it gets better every time we listen to it and watch it.
Add that extra smoke to it. Yes, sir. Jabril, you froze. All right, we're just going to keep it going.
Out of freeze.
He's
coming out of being frozen.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that, family. I got too excited and broke and crashed the whole system. We back. We back again. Your Black and STEM podcast, the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. We are very excited, family. I feel like it's been a little minute since I've been able to grace the platform with my brother and everything. We are back, and I'm happy. He always holds it down when I need him. But we are live right now, family. We are live right now on Facebook and YouTube. The STEM Files are at Tariq Cardiac, at Jabril Engineer on social media, as well as at the STEM Files on Instagram and Twitter, as well as TikTok. The STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to tap in, share the content, family. We're going to get into some nice high science as it pertains to how to eat to live, as it pertains to eating 1 meal a day. I am your not so illustrious co-host, Brother Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabril Engineer. I am a civilian mechanical engineer focusing on naval ship fluid systems with a background in material science and engineering. I am always joined by my more illustrious co-host, my bro, Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. What's going on, bro?
Man, all them shows I did by myself. You're right, I'm more illustrious. But anyway, I am Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I am a biomedical research scientist with a concentration in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I'm happy to be on tonight's show with our brother, four-time guest on the STEM Files, joining us again to talk about a topic that is extremely important, and I want to thank Allah that it's actually trending right now. 1 meal a day is trending on social media right now because a triple OG of ours, Mr. Al Sharpton, Reverend Al Sharpton, has revealed to the world what he does to lose weight, or to what he has done to go on such a successful weight loss journey, and that is eating once a day. Not eating one thing a day, 1 meal a day, not one snack a day, not one drink a day, not juice and none of the other stuff. One actual meal a day. So we're going to go into what a meal is. We're going to go into what fasting is. We're going to go into why 1 meal a day is not starvation.
That's right.
You know, we're gonna go into a whole lot of stuff tonight. So before we get into that, let's go ahead and introduce our guest, Dr. Akili, a personal mentor of mine. He's graced our platform, like I said, already 4 times. He has always come through for the STEM Files, and we always come through for the Ultimate Wellness Group. So, Dr. Akili, welcome back to the platform. Can you tell the people who haven't seen you before who you are, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Well, first I gotta say, man, every time I come on your show, you have reinvented your introduction, and it's always just fire.
Sir.
God, dog, y'all make me feel like my show need a whole lot of upgrades.
We're gonna keep it going.
Gotta step it up.
I'm working on something, but damn, y'all just set the bar just higher than it was last time.
Yes, sir.
I am your brother Akili. I am a family physician, trained in the American system, going to college and medical school. few years after practice, I was intrigued to read How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for a fourth time in my life. And it transformed the way that I looked at medicine, looked at the body, looked at practicing, helping people on their healing journey. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't, if I'm honest, wouldn't have anything to say to be able to do this type of a show if it wasn't for the interaction of Allah in my life through How to Eat to Live. And so if you all paid attention to the flyer, I spell holistic with a W because I'm trying to be whole and I want to help those who think that I can help them on their healing or health journey. I want to help them be whole. This society that is falling as we speak has fragmented us as people, fragmented us as individuals. And that's why you see a lot of people that may be strong in one or two aspects of their life, but the rest of their life is garbage. But at the end of the day, it's our duty, I believe, as a healthcare practitioner to help people be whole. And so that's God say the same, what we'll be doing today, talking about one meal a day, but that's part of producing a holistic perspective where you are healing and healthy in all aspects of your life.
And I want to put something in here real quick. So my brother is I want to tell you how adamant he is about putting this W in front of holistic. I sent him the flyer to just kind of let him proofread it and whatnot. He said, brother, please put that W on the front of holistic. I'm like, this doesn't go here. And so in my grammar mind, I'm like, this is not how you spell this word. But I respect brother so much. I was like, let me go ahead and do this. The people will understand what's going on here. So I'm glad you put that out there. But I just wanted to just say how much I respect you for everything that you do in holistic medicine as a holistic physician. As a matter of fact, I wanted to take some time, and I did not put it up here. But anyway, I wanted to take some time to go over what holistic medicine is by definition, and then we'll get into tonight's topic.
It's an honor to be your mentor, brother. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So what exactly is holistic medicine by definition? Like what is all of that entail? What wouldn't it be in terms of patient care?
The question.
Well, of course, just like I spell it different, I will explain it differently than what you'll probably find in other people's definitions. But as I said, I am a fragmented person. When I look at Black people as an entity, we are fragmented people. That's why we can't unify like we see many other communities doing. So I'll use myself as an example for the explanation. I graduated from medical school. I'm a physician, but I'm still drinking, still smoking weed, still being an adulterer, still doing things that would lessen my ability to truly help the person that's sitting across from me. I had many people in my practice that were smoking, many people that were alcoholics, many people that were drug addicts and former drug addicts. And so if I just finished coming from a weekend of going to happy hour Thursday through Sunday and I'm still not happy, drinking, smoking, and it still doesn't do anything, because there's always a reason for everything we do, whether we consciously know what it is or not. Every activity that you as a person does is based on a thought process. You don't smoke cigarettes for nothing. You don't do crack or marijuana or heroin or fentanyl or pain medicines for nothing. There's a reason behind everything. And so when I talk about being a holistic physician and helping people with their holistic health, it is to understand the thoughts first. Your thoughts made you decide to eat bad foods. Your thoughts made you believe and co-sign with Lizzo saying that being fat is okay. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't respect, honor, and appreciate people that are big, but we have to tell Lizzo and everybody that's in her camp and on that type of thought process that your future is going to be hella negative, because that extra weight is going to cause you serious disease. And so again, I'm talking about a holistic approach that your thoughts dictate everything. And so a balanced person would be one that came out of medical school and said, man, I'm good at what I learned and trying to help people, but financially I'm straight. From a business perspective, I'm straight. I know how to raise my children well. I know how to be a good husband or a wife, but that's not what's happening. Some people have a whole lot of talent in one area and the rest of their life is garbage. And so I don't want people to come to me and leave that way. We have to address everything: mental, physical, emotional, psychological, and physical. And then you can walk away and put a checklist on things, say, hey, I need to start working in this area. This is my weakest. This is my best. I'm going to work on that to keep that strong. And let me start balancing this so I can be a whole person and go out here and represent Allah, so that the entire world can look at me and see an example on going in the right direction as a person, a human, as a God.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Jay?
It's funny. So I'm a get on you real quick, bro, because I thought I came in with some unique. I said I'm gonna ask him to break down what a meal is. I said, you know what? He done already. He
you know he's gonna give you more.
Because
right.
Because like when you said that, I'm like, well, okay, well that cat's out of the bag. Because as you're talking, beloved, one of the things that jumps out to me from books 1 and 2 of How to Eat to Live, first and foremost, is the word how. Because it could be very simply what to eat to live.
That's
it
right.
could be very simply eat this to live. It's how to eat to live. And in those books, we learn what and what not to eat.
Yes.
We learn when not to eat it, how much of and maybe how little of to eat certain things, and even how to prepare and cook things that may or may not be the best foods for us, but are permissible. So when I think about that, and you think about the holistic, there's that word again, nature of the 2 books, what do you think when trying to apply 1 meal a day, the OMAD diet, as some people might want to call it, to their lives? One of the primary avenues people miss is of that very multifaceted way of life that is how they live.
Yeah, bro, I think that's a profound question, because I just was telling somebody just a few days ago that being a member of the Nation of Islam has been the greatest decision I made in my life. But I didn't come as a very young man, right? When I came to the Nation of Islam and got registered, I was in my career. I was a pretty mature person. And so I didn't come in and allow myself to be oppressed. I didn't allow myself to be dictated to. And I hope nobody gets me wrong and say I didn't come in to be a part of the structure. Of course I did. But I'm talking about here. There's no person that can take the teachings and dictate to me how it's supposed to work in my life. No, everybody has to go into that book, read the book and all the books that are presented to us, and you start trying to apply that in your own life so that your life starts to improve. That doesn't mean that your journey is going to mirror another person's journey. So first, I would say that every person has to get into the book and read the book. And if you joined the Nation of Islam 30 years ago and you read the book twice then and you ain't picked it up since then, you are a very, I would say, elementary student of How to Eat to Live, because it changes as you continue to practice it. It changes the meaning of it, not the book. The meaning changes as you grow and mature. And so that is the biggest thing, my brothers. That I see a lot of people, they become frozen because of some of the oppressive things that we do in the Nation of Islam. Oh, you ain't supposed to. Man, who the hell are you to tell me what I'm supposed to? You don't know nothing about my life. You don't know nothing about what I'm going through every day. You see what I mean? So yes, we should teach and we should correct when we see errors, but to try to force somebody into your scope of thought, I think paralyzes people. And we need to be free of being paralyzed and be free to go and take these teachings and take it to another level. As long as you're not doing something foolish or trying to take it into a direction that causes it to be discredited. If you're not doing that, you should be free to practice it and see where and how it takes you to another level of living. Because at the end of the day, let's just talk straight up as we transition into the 1 meal. Most people don't even realize that in the first book, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, eat your meal from 4 to 6. In book 2, he says, eat your meal between 4 or 6. So who knows how to explain what he means? I damn sure can't. So there's got to be some freedom. He tells us some things and then he comes back later and he gives us a little grace.
Right.
You need to do the same thing. Have grace with yourself, and damn sure have grace when you think you're teaching somebody else. Be patient and have a little grace with people. If somebody goes into the book and they come out of it and they have come to a different conclusion than you, who are you to tell them that they're wrong? Shut the hell up and let them live.
Real talk. Oh man. Oh.
Facts.
All right, it's getting spicy up in here, family. Let's get it going. But so
that went. Go ahead,
I'm sorry. It's on my mind. I know it's on your mind too. One of the things, as we talked about breaking down what a meal is, my mother shared some information with me some time ago about the time where her and some sisters were able to prepare and provide dinner to the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and surrounding people at his table. And one of the things she would talk about was what a meal consisted of in his presence. And I think a lot of times, we in our elementary, to use that word you use, understanding of how to eat to live, may think that one meal a day means, okay, I ate this apple and I'm good. Or I ate this Wawa hoagie and I'm straight. There's something that both the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the minister did, which are called courses, where they ate a full and multifaceted series of foods that lasted and consisted of talking, teaching, camaraderie, fellowship, not to mention what was on their plate. So if you would allow us and take us through this, what is a meal? How is that different than a snack or just eating something at a particular time?
Well, let me deal with snack first. Snack is not a scientific term from mathematics, right? Snack is a scientific term that somebody implemented from a perspective of being a commercializer. They were trying to make money. When you go to the zoo, and at the time that snacks came out, there were black people in the damn zoo. I'm not making this up. This is the science of snacks, right? Or you go to the zoo and they're animals and they wanted you to spend more money while you were there. And this is where the idea of snacks came up. It was never a mathematical, scientific thing of a person needs a snack, right? So all of us that live day to day by a computer or driving, or if you watch television, not that that needs to be a part of your day, but if it's a part of your day, you can't do anything without having food shoved in your face from the morning until the time you go to bed. That's a marketing aspect that makes us think about food, and then it becomes important. Many of you know what I'm talking about because you are not even thinking about food. Somebody will walk by with something, you smell it, or somebody will ask you, do you want this? Hey, have you heard about the new hamburger? What you call it? You weren't even thinking about food, right? Or you're in the middle of work and boom, a commercial, a little ad pops up while you're doing your work on your computer. That's not hunger.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that is the origination of a commercializing people way to tantalize us to eat outside of a scientific way. So that's snack. When it comes to what is a meal should satisfy what the hunger pain is for. And I when I sit and I talk to people, most people have no idea what the difference of a hunger pain is for water versus vitamin A versus vitamin D versus vitamin B versus I need some potassium or some selenium. Is there a difference in those hunger pains? The answer is absolutely not. The body sends a signal, and most of us will go right to food when the body is thirsty. And if we have to wait until we get a signal for thirst, your body is in trouble already. That's severe when it's to a point where you got dry mouth or you're actually really needing water, like you're lightheaded or things like that. Your body is in pretty serious trouble at that point. And so when we sit down at our table and we want to eat a meal, that meal should satisfy the needs of the body. Macronutrients, protein, fat, sugar. We break proteins down into amino acids so that they can go and do the work that they do. Fats can go in as fatty acids, can go in as cholesterol, can go in as esterols, a lot of different things. Sugars can come in numbers together, and we break them down into glucose, which is the primary fuel of the body. Don't let anybody tell you that sugar is bad for the body. White sugar is bad and too much sugar is bad, but you wouldn't be able to live without sugar in your body. So those are the macronutrients. Then we got the vitamins, right? You got your water-soluble vitamins, your B vitamins, and your C. You got your fat vitamins, your D, E,
Yep.
A, and K. We really don't need a lot of K because our body, if your GI system isn't in the right functioning, you can make your own K. And then you everything on a periodic table. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that everything in the earth is in our bodies. But we damn sure don't need to eat a whole bunch of gold. We don't need a whole bunch of aluminum. Those things will kill us. A lot of arsenic, right? But we need a lot of salt. We need a lot of potassium, a lot of carbon, a lot of calcium. So your intake of food at a meal should have the capacity to replenish what you lost based on your activity level, based on what your exposure to the sun is, based on coolness or the heat of your day. And so we're talking about, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in this book that a man that has, or a woman that has, he didn't say woman, I'm including women today, have a physical laborious job. 1 meal a day is good enough for you. So those of us who sit all the time, now you know why you need to increase the size of your clothes every year or two, because you're not doing enough to burn that off. Right. So a person has to be able to what? Be aware enough, paying attention enough to when you sit down and eat your food, do you have enough energy to go through your next day?
Come on.
If you're not having enough energy for the next day, something was missing from your meal.
Good teaching. Come on.
Something is decreasing and not working right in your life. If you get halfway through your day, if somebody gotta come tap and wake you up while you're at work, something is wrong. You're not doing something correct. And so it's an evaluation. There's no one answer to that question, but that one meal should serve what you need to make it through your next day at minimum. And at the end of the day, I never eat between 4 to 6. Even if I start at 4, my meal's probably going to last till 7, sometimes 8 o'clock, because I'm going to try to get in my fruit with every meal. Sometimes I'll do my fruit in a smoothie with whole milk. Most of the time that I eat, I'm going to have some bean soup and potentially some wheat bread. And then it's time for the main course. Sometimes
courses. Come on.
Sometimes there'll be an hour, hour and a half in between the smoothie and the bean soup. Sometimes there's a few minutes in between the bean soup and the rest of the meal. So, can I always say exactly what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad meant? No, I'd be a liar to even try to make anybody think I have that type of wisdom. But like I said, it's a journey for every person, and you have to do it to the best of your ability. But don't try to use what I'm saying and start eating at 12 o'clock and you're still eating at 11 o'clock at night. Now you're playing games with yourself. Try to do it to the best you can within a short period of time, but be reasonable and don't let somebody else try to enforce you or oppress you into thinking that what you're doing is wrong. Do the best you can and try to do the best in alignment with what he said, meaning that you got to read the book.
Come on.
Right. And I want to just kind of bear witness to what you're saying, beloved. I keep trying to explain to people, and it's like you just keep trying to explain something to people and it just goes over. But you've got to give yourself, your body, the energy and the strength it needs to go without food. If you're constantly eating garbage and mess, then your body's going to need more because you're not giving it anything.
Absolutely.
You can't fast on a BS diet.
Go ahead and say it, man, because that's what they do.
That.
Go ahead.
You can't eat pizza and be like, you can't eat like a whole pizza pie and be like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go fast the next day.
Right.
You're gonna be very unsuccessful, or you're gonna be struggling and fiending for some food just to get over that sensation or that feeling. But if bean soup, whole wheat bread, water or milk, foundation of your meals, you can get through any day you wanted to without having to fiend for something else, because you got everything you needed from that. So now your body's like, look, well, I'm good. Whatever you need to do for the day, go ahead and do it. I ain't gonna mess with you. And our bodies do talk to us.
That's facts.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna let it be. We're not gonna let it.
I was off the rails for a minute, but family,
if I may say this real quick in response to you,
yes, sir.
Fasting always does good. there is absolutely no reality where fasting is going to do bad.
Right.
And I just want to explain this. But the problem when you fast, after eating the type of food that Brother Tariq is talking about, there is work that the body needs to do. And it'll be no different than if somebody came to your house and they said, hey, you have a popped water pipe in your hose. I mean, in your wall, we heard. So we're going to come and we're going to open up the wall. We're going to do the repairs and we're going to close the wall back up. And all you see them do walk in your house with is masking tape and duct tape. They about to get the hell about your house, right? Because they don't have the tools to do the work that needs to be done. So when you go on a fast, there potentially are some good things that are happening because rest always does the body good. But when you don't have the tools, when you do not eat to get the nutrients I just finished listing, then your body is not going to be able to repair. So eventually that fast is going to turn into starvation.
There we go.
And so if a person makes comments like, man, if I ate that long, I would starve. That's because you don't understand. Fasting will not cause a body harm if you do it correctly. But the problem is many of us think that we can eat whatever we want to and don't realize that we haven't read the book and ingested the book yet. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, with the best of foods. I don't know anybody that thinks going to McDonald's, Burger King, eating pizza is the best of foods. So automatically from the beginning, you're not even following the instructions of the book.
Well, let's do this, Doc. Oh, go ahead.
No, I had something. I had something going, and I didn't want to get this point because you're talking about having the tools. You're talking about fasting being good. You're talking about the best of foods. One thing I hear periodically, whether you're in the nation or not, oh, how to eat to live doesn't work for me. Oh, I'm trying to lose weight, can't. One of the things that I think is important for us to note that how to eat to live in essence is not a diet. How to eat to live is a way of existence, a way of being, it's a way of life.
Force.
It's a maintenance in its essence that may render a loss of weight up to a certain point. Now, you have people in and out of our nation that eat one meal a day and they're striving to put on weight or muscle and lose it. Now, I know you're not a personal trainer, but I know from a level of nutrition, that's your wheelhouse. Could you speak to some of the differences in someone's eating one meal a day if their goal is to, with that, put on muscle or weight, or their goal is to lose weight and a significant amount?
Before you answer that question, we're gonna answer that question as soon as we take our break. Right after we take this final call break, because we coming up on
30 minutes in.
Right. So we gotta let's go plug that in real quick, and then we get back to that question.
Sound like an hour and a half show coming to me.
Oh man.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, bro. And this week's edition of the Final Call newspaper is about?
Yes, sir. The Joshua generation, family. For those who don't know, if you've been following our show at all, you know we are proud members of the Nation of Islam. This is the Final Call newspaper, a message dedicated to the resurrection of the black man and woman in America and the world. All right. The latest issue, if you want it digitally, go to finalcalldigital.com. Make sure to follow at Final Call newspaper on all platforms. This current edition is the Joshua generation, cultivating and inspiring the next generation of fearless freedom fighters for our people and why it matters. For anyone who has any level of knowledge of the scriptures, you know the story of Joshua taking people into that land where the elders said there were giants there. And the Joshua generation, many people may think is a generation of a certain chronological age, but it's really a spirit to meet and overcome all obstacles in one's path and to institute the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven on earth. So a lot of us are what we may like to call young-minded. We're talking about you. There are those who are
Right.
chronologically youthful who are old in the mind, and there are those who are chronologically more seasoned who are very young-minded. So get your latest edition and understand what it means to be part of the Joshua generation, and see if you check that box, family. If you are in the Philadelphia area, you can tap in with your brother, your great engineer, to get your physical edition, or to tap in and get the digital edition. If you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, you know to tap in with Tariq Cardiac. And also, brother Dr. Akili, I always forget where you're stationed at.
Macon, Georgia.
Macon, Georgia. If you're in the Macon, Georgia area, you can't forget that our brother Dr. Akili is FOI first. Come on.
Come on.
That's right.
Come on.
First and foremost.
First and foremost. And everything is added unto him. Get it with him. At Final Call Newspaper Family, the Joshua Generation, this current edition.
Excellent. Thank you so much, bro. Now, what was that question you were asking? My fault.
So, quick recap.
I still got it. So we're going to follow up right on that final call thing.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For every person that says how to eat to live doesn't work for you is because you don't open it, you don't read it, and you're not trying to apply it, because that is an impossibility. Every single person that I've worked with how to eat to live since 2004, those that apply it get results 1,000% of the time. So if you are a person that can make that statement, get the final call every week and go towards the end, read the section that says how to eat to live, and just apply it for a week and watch what will happen in a month. Watch what will happen in 2 months. Don't go back to old habits. Make the change. Stick with the change. That is a statement, in my personal viewpoint, that is of a person who didn't apply enough energy into the actions of the book. Now, when it comes to your question, my brother,
and take your time, Doc. Take your time.
Yeah. Well, I think what we really misunderstand is the reality of what health is. Health is never something that somebody else can manufacture and make a blueprint for you. Because there are those of us listening tonight who can go in your own family and your own brothers and your sisters, your aunts, uncles, and cousins have a different body habitus than you. You can eat the same thing as somebody that's in your family, same genetic structure, and it affects you differently. So that goes to show that we can never 100% match ourselves to what somebody else is doing. Why do I say that? Because most of us try to figure out what our body habitus is supposed to be from a perspective of vanity. And when I talk to other men, I have admitted before, man, I'm in the gym, or I'm at the park, or I'm in somewhere in public, and I see a dude walking down the street with his shirt off, or he's wearing a tank top, and I'm looking at him. There's not any homosexuality in this, but it's like, damn, I wonder if my arms look that big, or am I that cut? You see what I'm saying? So we're always comparing ourselves to other people.
Right.
And then there's a standard that the media has put out here in Hollywood and all those type of things. And if you start trying to use that as your gauge, you're going to make a mistake all the time. And so let's look at Al Sharpton, Reverend Al Sharpton, as an example.
Right.
Right now, when you look at Reverend Al Sharpton, many of us still think something looks bad about him. And it's because for the majority of our lives, we looked at him as that brother on the right. That's what we got used to.
Right.
We got used to the 300 plus Al Sharpton. And this one on the left, who is in much better shape, who is void of medical problems, has shed all of that weight and feels better than he ever has in his life. If you went and listened to some of his interviews, he's talking about how he feels mentally, how he feels spiritually, how he is able to do things with so much more energy and a mental sharpness. He did that. I mean, he spoke about those things. And so at the end of the day, what is Reverend Al Sharpton's real body habitus? The one on the left or the one on the right? So you grew up in a family where everybody from the time you were a little baby was eating pork bones and a whole bunch of macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes all the time, and sweet potatoes and at every meal. You don't even know what your body's supposed to look like, because as a child, you started becoming overweight and you've never truly known what you're supposed to look like.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
in your mind, you say, I'm like 300 pounds now, but I want to get back to the way I was when I was in my 20s. I was like 215. How do you know 215 is right for you?
That's good teaching.
The reality is that you have to put yourself on a regimen, and you have to stick with that regimen, make it make sense, stick with it long enough to get to a place of good health, and your body's going to tell you. We're not supposed to have love handles. We're not supposed to have an extra titty under your arm, men.
Not an extra titty.
We're not supposed to have fat rolls on our stomach and fat rolls on our back.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
my
Turn around,
goodness.
look at the back of somebody, they put their head back, got a big fat roll on the back of their neck that gets larger when you put your head back.
Damn.
These
So,
things
take it
are-
easy on them, brother. Damn, take it
Hey,
easy on them.
We gotta tell the truth, bro. We can't examine these things that are happening in our community and continue to think that these things are normal. They're not normal.
Right.
But when you do some research like I was doing today, I was doing some research on the Zulu Nation in South Africa. And a brother made a mention to me about comparing black HBCU bands and the tribal traditional dances of the Zulus. And he was telling me that the Zulu Nation has, for the most part, been void of European intervention. So we're looking at some stuff that's traditionally long time ago. Now, when I was looking at those people, the majority of them, you could see the six-pack, male or female, no love handles, no rolls on their bodies, right? And so again, I didn't say those things to hurt anybody's feelings, but sometimes we have to have some shock value to bring us back to the reality that what you think is real most of the time isn't even based in reality. And so most of us that look in the mirror, your evaluation should be after the shower or bath, butt naked in the mirror. And if anything's hanging, anything's folding over something, you're not at your right weight. You need to get rid of that. And the biggest misconception with these trainers and these bodybuilders is that you build new muscle. That's a falsity. When you mature as a young adult in puberty and you stop growing, your muscle building as far as muscle fibers is done. The only thing you can do from that point forward is work them and make them bigger. That's hypertrophy. Or you don't do anything and they get smaller. That's atrophy. But you don't build new muscles. You repair the muscles that you have.
Right.
And so that's a misconception when people say, hey, I want to kind of, build up my muscle structure. Well, get in the gym and see how much you can do. If I'm looking at this homeboy over here that's 6'4", 215 pounds, and I'm 6'1", 180, it's a possibility I'm not going to be able to lift as much as he is. His body being bigger is stronger than mine. So if you go and try to do the type of work that he's doing, type of workout he's doing, and then you start popping supplements or you get to using steroids, that's why you wind up with muscles tearing off of the bone. There are accidents, or I should say injuries happening in professional sports these days that were unheard of 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. There were no biceps being ripped off of people's chests, triceps being ripped off the back of them. That's because these guys are getting so big and then they want to take it to another level, do more steroids, do more supplements, because I'm watching somebody that's naturally stronger than you. And you're going to try and go do what I do and try to get as big as I am, you'll die first. So it's a vanity thing. And if we don't remove the vanity and start trying to do things from the essence of where it is, we're going to wind up getting ourselves in trouble just about all the time. It's not good to carry extra weight. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that. Fat will lead to disease. I'm paraphrasing. That's not the way he says it, but that's the essence of what he's saying. If you have extra weight on your body, look in the time in your journey going in the future, there's going to be some problems coming your way.
Yes, sir. And I wanted to take a minute to go over some comments that I seen in the comment section from that Shade Room post on our brother Al Sharpton. And there were some very disturbing things that they said. Well, I wouldn't call it disturbing, it's really just ignorance that they were saying, and I wanted you to kind of bust them up a little bit. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
All right. So one person said people will do anything but eat right and exercise to lose weight.
Yeah, I mean that is that more than likely is a statement in contradiction to what we are talking about is a beneficial thing, and that's just ignorance, you all. At the end of the day, you know, if you were to tap in with Brother Akili years ago, I was an arguer. You know what I mean? I'm trying to argue my point. I don't do that anymore. I'm gonna state the facts, state the truth, and I'm gonna move on. If your reality is based in ignorance and you don't want to learn, then I don't have time for you. I'll let the environment of the world and God himself teach you the lessons through what he puts in your life. But I would challenge any person, I don't care what your religion is, what race you are, what part of the world you're in, to find scientific proof on the way Americans eat. You can't find it. You'll be looking until you die. The way Americans eat is based in the agriculture department and the food industry. That's it. 3 meals a day has never been scientifically, even if it hasn't even been evaluated. So for you as a person to think that when you hear something new, the first thing you say is, oh, them people crazy. What the hell are they talking about? Something you don't know anything about, something you're ignorant about. And so as Black people, we do that a lot. As soon as we hear something and we don't know anything about it, we use the word crazy. Oh, man, y'all crazy. Why? Because it's outside of the reality of what you've learned. And we really shouldn't say learned, outside of the reality of what you've been spoon-fed to make you ignorant and to make you think you're smart, right? And so when we're looking at a man who made this type of transition, people will try to use an explanation like, oh, he had surgery, or he did this, or he did pills, or he. Why can't you give this man credit for putting in the work that you don't? You keep making excuses. You want to go get surgery. That's why you don't believe he can do it, because he gave you the blueprint to get off your lazy behind and do what the hell you're supposed to do. But you won't accept it. That's the problem, I think, a lot of times, bro. You know what I'm saying? When people are challenged with change, and then you see the proof of what change will do, you're afraid to put in the work. You're shy of putting in the work, or you're just too lazy to put in the work, and you're going to suffer the consequences, because I don't really give a damn what people think about what I say. At the end of the day, if it's based in truth, I'm going to live with it. And I'm going to tell you, I've been doing this for 26 years, practicing medicine, brothers and sisters. Every surgery has consequences when you do it for weight loss. I don't care what the problem is. It will give you some results, but there's going to be some problems down the line. It's a fact, because you can't change the way Allah made these bodies and still get the benefit of the beauty of how he made them. When you go and you start altering it, you eat bad food, you learn how to eat bad food from your parents and your family. You wind up with a gallbladder problem. You let these people take out your gallbladder, and for the rest of your life, you got problems. Don't even know. Thyroid start going out. Can't digest food right. Now you're low on your fatty vitamins, because you can't even absorb your fatty vitamins without the bile that comes out of the gallbladder. You see what I'm saying? You don't apply the discipline to lose weight. And let me be straight up. I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to be harsh. We live in one hell of a world. This is a hell of a society. See, people come to me and dump on me all the things that are causing them to not have the energy. So I'm not down on anybody. I'm just telling the truth. At the end of the day, some Black people are so depressed on how this world beat them down. Some women are so oppressed and so depressed because their own husbands are the oppressor. Their own husbands and the people in their family are driving them crazy. So I'm not down on anybody that has a problem losing weight. That's not my point. But scientifically, it is a lack of ability to apply and stick with a program that keeps you heavy, eating the wrong foods that's keeping you heavy. Now, there are a lot of possible things that could be causing you not to have that energy. So I'm not trying to down anybody. I just want to make sure everybody understands I'm not coming here to beat people up. That's not my position. But
that's not what the show is for. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Nope. Right. But in general, in the Black community, when we talk about weight loss, there's a whole lot of stuff circulating out here that just makes no damn sense. I can't lose weight because my hormones are bad. No, your fat behind caused your hormones to go out of whack. Hormones don't go out of whack when you're not overweight. It's the toxins and all the bad stuff that's coming in the bad food that you're eating that's causing your hormones to go in the wrong direction. So we have to really start to decipher through the BS and get to the reality. Yes, there probably are some psychological, mental, and emotional things that cause men and women to gain weight. So let's deal with that then. Don't go on a weight loss program and in between here still jack the hell up. You got to work here first. And then it will open up the reality of the energy, the ability to dedicate, and the ability to be diligent in that program. Why? Because you freed up some energy that's tied up here. So I pray that I answered the question without hurting anybody's feelings. And,
yes, sir.
You know,
and I want
real quick, because we're going to bust that up real quick.
I got so much like, yeah.
Put a black fist in the comments if Brother Dr. Akili did not hurt your feelings. Come on. If he did not hurt your feelings, you heard, you digest, you understood. I need some black fists in the comments. Let's see what we get. Come on. Come on. Because this all love.
I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, y'all.
Okay. The black man.
There we go.
We got some black fist worlds. Come on now, family. Let's all y'all feelings hurt. Now, if all y'all feelings hurt, we gotta
you just go ahead and leave now. Go ahead and leave now.
You go ahead, man. We your brothers. We ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings. We trying to speak truth to power. And we gotta be patient with ourselves. I mean, a lot of times, like you said, the vanity thing and wanting to look like others, we have to be patient with ourselves. Because how to live is not a one size fits all thing. Some of us, we eat well and try to eat in accordance with the book, but we don't move enough. Thanks. You know, our journey toward our personal goal that we identified that we need is not going to necessarily be the same as somebody else's. So what we have to do is become so in love with ourselves that we take the time to do the personal work. I heard, I forget what I was listening to. It was a podcast or something. They were talking about the inherent issue with diets is that they're made to end. I'm gonna say that again. The inherent issue with diets is that they're made to end. The reason why you don't get what you desire from a diet is because in the back of your mind, you're training your mind to get off of that and eat and be the way you were before. That's why how to eat to live is a way of life. It's not a diet.
That's right.
When you don't get off, or you shouldn't get out of how to live. You are supposed to do that day in and day out. And it may look different for you at different parts of your life. If you play a sport in high school, if you have a more sedentary lifestyle as you get older, you have children, you start to eat different foods and change things slightly as you need different things in different stages of life. So I just wanted to say that to just further.
I gotta respond to what you said. Bro. Look.
Yes, sir.
See, our misunderstanding of what the word love means will potentially allow us not to really understand what you just said. We are taught in the Nation of Islam that the word love is the same as life, but the foundation of the word love is freedom, justice, and equality.
Come on.
If you can't look in the mirror and give that person that you're looking to freedom, justice, and equality, nobody else stands a damn chance. And so if you love yourself, that's not something that you can just say and doesn't have much duty behind it. And the first duty behind loving yourself is self-examination, self-analysis, and self-correction, which the minister has taught us leads to the self-accusing spirit. When you have a self-accusing spirit, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I'm using it as an example. Just now when I was talking with passion about weight loss, I had to slow down for a minute because I was saying to myself, man, I hope I'm not hurting anybody's feelings. So then I had to add the part in about the mental aspect, because that is what's causing a lot of people not to be successful. You can't be black in America and don't have a mental health issue.
Come on.
I might not be the same as the person standing on the side of the road talking crazy and got their sign out there. I will do anything for food. Hey, man, how about I bring you and you get some work? I ain't working. See, we know that that's just crazy on another level, but all of us are crazy to some degree because we're in a totally opposite world of the way we think and the way we are naturally. So just take that as a note for tonight. If you love yourself, then you have to self-examine, self-analyze, and then start making changes on everything that you do. If what you're doing isn't giving you the type of results that make sense, it should probably be evaluated.
Absolutely. And brother, you said something very important earlier about, weight loss and people saying that it's impossible to lose a great amount of weight like that unless you've had some type of weight loss surgery or you on some type of diet pill or what have you. I want to pull up that picture one more time. The picture, family, on the right is from the early to mid 90s. That's a long time ago. The picture on the left is him now. Why is it impossible for him to go from right to left in that time frame?
Come on.
Why is it impossible for him to have the discipline to say, you know what? I'm getting older. This ain't going to be a good look. I'm not going to be around too much longer if I don't get this weight off of me.
Come on.
Why is it impossible for him to have done that? Why do we as a people have to attack each other? Because like you said, we or generally speaking as a community don't have the discipline to do something like that. It was a good gap.
That's for sure.
Over 20 years.
Absolutely.
Come on.
You mean to tell me 20 years isn't enough to lose weight?
That's right.
That's not enough to
2000, right?
Exactly, 2000.
22 years to go from that.
Right. Right. That picture was taken in the 90s, but he started the process in 2000. That's 22 years. That's not impossible. Like we said, how do you to live?
It's impossible for the person. It's impossible for the person that doesn't see love when they look in the mirror. And so when they look outside of the mirror, they don't expect anybody else to be able to do what they can't even come to conceive within themselves.
Exactly. We talked about how to live being a process. It's something that takes time.
That's right.
In hindsight, it took time for you to get fat or to get that way. So it's going to take time to undo it.
That's right.
Right.
So there's a reason there's a clock on that plate in the background.
Come on.
And there's a fork next to it. Because the fork and that clock go hand in hand when it comes to how long you're going to live on this earth.
Facts.
So we got to be serious about, like our sister said, prolonging life is serious. We got to be serious and disciplined enough to know, first and foremost, like Dr. Akili said, we got to love ourselves enough to know that this is possible. This is not an impossible feat. This is not a record in the Guinness World Book of Records. This is not impossible. This is not something that, well, damn, I ain't gonna be able to pay my light bill if I lose this much weight. What? What? I'm telling you, I'm seeing some ridiculous comments, bro. And,
wait a minute, bro.
And speaking of comments, and I wanted to that was one of the things that really stuck out to me, along with starvation. I want to talk about starvation real quick before we end. Dr. Akili, can you give us a biological and scientific perspective and insight into what starvation looks like?
Good question.
And why eating one meal a day is not starvation? What are some of the physical signs that take place or that show up in the human body that makes this not starvation? And what would be some of the things that we would do on a consistent basis to cause starvation?
Yeah. So
sorry for that rant earlier, beloved. I just had to get that off my chest.
It's all good. The reality is the difference between starvation, just in a basic term, the difference between starvation and fasting is starvation is destroying tissues, whereas fasting is improving them. That's just a basic reality. So again, when we are fasting, the body has enough nutrients to do the work void of digestion, Many of you who are listening, who are not practicing one meal a day, you have to understand that when you sit down and eat a meal, it takes hours to digest a meal, no matter what the food is that you're eating, except, very watery fruits like watermelon. That doesn't take long, right? You chew watermelon, it's water, mostly water before you even swallow it. But when you're eating something a little more consistent, an apple, a date, a banana, your body can probably digest most fruits within an hour or two. When you start adding vegetables, it's going to take that up to about 3 or 4 hours. Add fish, probably 5 to 6. Turkey and chicken, probably 6 to 8 to 10. Beef and lamb, you're going to be 12, 14, depending on the consistency of the meat, right? Some of these crazy people in these videos eating raw meat or eating meat that's mostly raw and just cooked on the outside, that's going to take longer than a cooked piece of meat. And so think about the reality of what you sat down and you ate today in your 5 meals or your 3 meals, whatever it was. The majority of the time when people are eating 7 meals, 5 meals, and even down to 3 meals, you haven't even finished digesting the meal that you ate and you're eating another one. So there is a reflex in the body that when food gets to a certain consistency in the stomach, when you put something else in the mouth, there's a reflex that says, stomach, empty yourself. We got something else coming. The stomach empties into the intestines. The intestines say, hey, colon, we got something coming. The small intestines are going to empty. And then you have an urge to go to the bathroom if your system is in check. So if we go back to the stomach quickly, the stomach empties for 3 reasons. Consistency of the food, meaning you've broken it down enough. The watery, so it has to be made into what we call chyme. So it's mostly water. It's kind of fluid. And then it's the pH. That's when the pylorus, which is the opening from the stomach into the opening of the stomach into the intestines, that's when it starts to open, when those 3 things are met. So if you don't allow the digestion process to finish, you are pushing undigested food into the small intestines. And it would be like fitting a 40-inch television or a 40-inch refrigerator through a 30-inch door. You can't get undigested food absorbed in the intestines. The intestines are looking for things that are digested and are microscopic. You can't see nutrients with your eye. You can't see a molecule of fat with your eye. You can't see proteins that have been broken down into amino acids with your eye. So that's how small the things are that we're absorbing in our intestines. So if you did not finish digesting that big old piece of meat that you swallowed down into your stomach, then it's going through your intestines, can't be absorbed, and it's going to come out in the toilet. So when you are eating that way, you're not getting most of what's in the food if you're eating the right type of food. So let's just discuss from the perspective that if you are eating the right amount of food, if you're eating quality, high, good food, like the Honorable Sharpton taught us, then when you put it in your stomach and it's being digested, and then you eat something else before it's finished digesting, you're not going to get everything out of that food. You eat another meal, like Brother Tariq said earlier, because your body didn't get what it needs, and what's it going to do? Hunger pain for that nutrient that it's asking for. Now, let's go to the opposite. Somebody's eating Burger King, McDonald's, don't like to cook, get pizza, ramen noodles, microwave foods, oven dinners. Your food is void of quality nutrients. And so it's a likelihood that many of you that are eating like that are starving, even with a big Al Sharpton body. Many overweight and obese people are starving to death. Many medical problems. And the activity that's going on in their body is a reality of starvation. Like what? Diabetes. That's a process of starvation. Heart disease. A reality of starvation. Starvation of what? Mostly oxygen getting to the tissues, but it's the food that you're eating that's causing problems in the body, not allowing it to work correctly. So medical problems in the human body are a result of starvation to some degree. So we're looking at our family members. Every time we have a family gathering, you're looking at starvation. The reality is that most of us, when we think about starvation, we think of the extreme. one of those children over in Ethiopia where their whole body skinny and all of their organs have dumped down into their abdomen, and their abdomen sticking out, sitting out looking like a so-called beer belly, right? That is starvation to such a severe degree that their tissues of their body, their bones, their tendons, their fascia isn't even strong enough to hold up their organs. So everything drops. They do autopsies on some of these children, and their hearts are all the way down damn near in their pelvis.
Yep. Super.
That's extreme starvation. You don't see that a lot in America because America doesn't have total calorie starvation. We have high calorie, meaning big people, but no nutrients. And so there's a lot of different things that we could go in, but for the sake of time, I'm going to keep it at that. Did I answer the question?
Yes, sir. You definitely answered the question, that and then some, so you that's one of the reasons we love having you on the platform, because you don't just answer the question, you go into the nuances, the very essence of what the actual problem is, so I thank you for that. Jabril, do you have anything?
I did want a couple of things. First and foremost, family, all those watching, listening, if you are enjoying this installment of the STEM Files, let me get a 7 in the chat. Let me get a 7, number of God, in the chat. Let me get a 7 in the chat if you're enjoying the content that we're bringing to you, my dear brother and fellow servant in the mission, Brother Dr. Akili. Let me get a 7 in the chat. Also, something I said I would bring up a bit earlier before we started. I was watching Brother Dr. Wesley posted on his channel from his podcast with Brother Ben about chasing the bag. There was the gist of what was being talked about is righteously seeking the promise of God versus chasing the bag culture. And one of the questions that Brother Ben was talking about was how some believers or people kind of feel the need to separate the teachings from making money or what have you. And he was talking about, they asked, should they push money? Not, and Brother student Dr. What's talking about, we as Muslims should never push money. And he was talking about, in this time where we're dealing with a pestilence, now going into famine, reeling people in on the promise of abundance or something of that nature when we're dealing with a time where we're going to be dealing with famine. So fasting on a number of levels is going to be paramount. Can you take a step back and apply the importance of 1 meal a day or even fasting to other aspects of your life, particularly as we move into this time of the changing of paradigms of worlds, depending on what school of thought you may be from?
Beautiful.
Yes,
question.
sir, bro. As you were mentioning what you were mentioning, what Allah took my mind to was medical school. I remember people telling me about how hard it was going to be. And when I got to medical school, I was pretty, I would say, confident in what I did know from college, right? Because I paid attention to the classes that I needed to pay attention to. This is my thinking right here, right? But the classes like English and other stuff like that, I was like, man, I'll give a damn. I'm just trying to get a passing grade. But I remember being in medical school, and there were people that came from rich families, and they were paying some of the instructors for the answers to the tests. I know some people, male and female, that were having sex with the teachers to get passing grades. Ooh. And there was a time, one night, I mean, you guys just got to bear with me for a minute because I was crazy as hell back in the day. But there was a guy in medical school with me who I got note of that had the test. He had a copy of the actual test that we were about to have. And that was a do or die test for me. And so I saw him walking in the hallway where we studied. And I said, hey, man, I understand you have the test and, you got all the answers. He was like, how did you find it? I said, I don't need to tell you how to find it out. How is it right? Is that fact?
Just give me the answers. Like,
well, I straight up told him, I said, hey, man, a person like you is going to set the curve. So I'm just telling you now, if I fail this test, the next time I see you, I'm going to beat your ass. I just told him just like that, right?
Yeah, yo.
Within 5 minutes, he had the test on my table where I was studying. And I remember, I mean, I wasn't satisfied with that. I remember by the time he got back with the test, I was sitting there, I was like, tonight, brothers and sisters, is the thought that I had in mind entering medical school. I'm not trying to cap in no way.
Come on.
I wanted to be the type of physician that knew the information, and I could sit and explain something to a person that trusted me so that they could understand what it was that we were trying to do, right? And so I knew through medical school who had the answers to the test, who were having sex. I mean, people brought me that type of information. But to me, I didn't give into that crap because I wanted to know. And there were many nights where I'd be studying and I would go on a tangent because I would read this, be like, damn, I don't understand the foundation. Okay, let me go study that. And then you got to go study something else to have a complete understanding. But that ain't what's going to be on the test.
Right,
but that's the way I study.
Right.
So I hope you all understand how I'm tying this in, right? Many people want to hurry up and get to the end. But they don't understand that to get to the end, it takes the work, the steps, the diligence, the dedication, the patience to understand where you're going. You can't get to being a master mechanic before the end of this year. You can't be a master in what you brothers do in 4 or 5 years. Sometimes it takes people 40, 50 years to be considered a master in many different fields.
Right.
I don't give a damn how fast you try to get to master if you don't take the small steps that it takes to get the understanding, to get the abilities, to get the confidence. Because right now, as you all are listening to Brother Dr. Akili, there's not a person that can be presented to me in the outpatient perspective that would bring me any, and my heart's not going to start beating. Oh my God, they got such, I've been around too long to get thrown out of whack by somebody walking up to me. Now, if you walked up to me, you probably got enough time for me to sit you down and talk to you, right? Now, you take me and put me in an emergency room. I ain't worked in the emergency room since the 90s.
Right.
If somebody come in there with a damn bullet hole and they bleeding out their back.
Right.
So the point that I'm getting to, brothers and sisters, is that everything has a process to it. I don't care what it is. And so since we're talking about the human body and how to eat to live and health, there is a process to understanding how to eat to live. It is a new body of information. There could only be approximately 2, maybe 3 generations of people that even have had the ability to study it. So there ain't a whole lot of wisdom and knowledge out here about practicing it. These things that you're hearing in the media these days and social media, 1 meal a day, calorie restriction, Methuselah diet, ketosis, ketone diet, all of these things are based on how to eat to live. I guarantee you, I've been studying health long enough to know there are a few schools of thought, and all of those things that I just mentioned, OMAD, all of these things, they're based on these people studying how to eat to live. Now, how does that relate to the bag? The reality is that there are many in this younger generation that have been given the ideology that money is one of the solutions to Black people's problems.
Come on.
And I 100% agree to that. But you can't give money to a fool. That's why there's a saying that a fool and his money is soon departed.
Come on now.
The minister and his wisdom has taught us that you have to have some wisdom in a person, some character in a person. A person has to have some principles before you start putting the bag of stacks on them, because they're going to eventually go down the wrong path, because money has that tendency. Money is going to bring you a different circle of people. That doesn't mean you have to leave the ones that you had before you got the bag, but the bag is going to bring you a different surrounding of people. And if you don't know how to handle yourself when you start to elevate in that reality or take those steps up to a different stratosphere, you will potentially fail, because the people out here in this world are not like you. Black people from the soul are inherently good. We have to be taught how to be a nigga. We got to be taught how to be a criminal.
Come on.
But the more money you make, the more criminals you get around. And many of you haven't lived long enough to know that. I just have been living long enough to know that, because I've had money like that. And I know what the circles that started to introduce me and accept me in, they weren't circles that I wanted to be around. I'm just being honest with y'all. A lot of the stuff that attracts many people, I grew up in Southern California. I saw these things. I saw so-called stars. I've never had an autograph in my life. Give a damn who you are. I think something about myself. What the hell am I do with an autograph? I was in an airport not too long ago, and this rapper, when I see people like rappers, I say, hey man, I enjoy your music, man. But hey man, you want to take this picture with me? Hell no. What the hell am I doing with a picture of you? I ain't no damn woman. I ain't no groupie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that we have to understand that there's a different reality out here. And so the more money you make, it ain't no different than the more food you have in your refrigerator. Still got to make good choices. You still have to know how to decipher what's good for you, what's not. Right? The minister told us, and has said many times, that a lot of these athletes, a lot of these entertainers, you get to a status in your career and you get invited to a party. And when you walk in the party, you see things.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of turning around and leaving the party, you're crazy behind worried about the opportunities that you get by putting your standards aside, putting your principles in your back pocket, and going in there, opening up the front of your pants. Mistake every time. Stick with your morals. Stick with the things that you see. Because a lot of people out here that put the reality of health, the reality of money, the reality of careers, it's a trick. And so you should always have somebody that you can go to that has a little more experience than you to help you decipher through sometimes the things that shade our vision. Because sometimes the desire for things, I'm speaking to myself as well. Sometimes the desire for things will cloud your vision to the warnings that are coming up right in your vision, but you don't know where to look. It's coming in your vision, right, peripheral, but you still looking forward at the desire. You're not looking at the warning signs. So, I would say that those concepts are so 100% in congruence, because I literally just had somebody that I'm going to start working with who has a very serious condition. And as I said before, I'm 26 years into the field of medicine.
Right.
And there's this person that I'm working with, their child got into the field a few years ago, hasn't gone to school, just went into it from the economic side. How can I make money and this and that and this and that? And you're going to sit and try to tell me what's right and wrong? You're going to try to sit and tell me what is the right thing for a person? You can't even evaluate them. You're coming and you're spitting things that you heard on Instagram. You're coming, you're repeating things that you heard on YouTube. I've lived that for 20 years. You can't come tell me something about how to take care of a medical problem, or how to take care of a person with multiple medical problems, or a person with a serious medical problem. And you've been at this for 2 or 3 years and you think you have the same ability to evaluate that I do?
Come on.
Am I trying to make myself better than anybody here? No. But there is no substitute for experience. None. The person can go sit in a place and read books for the rest of their lives, 20, 30, 40 years, until you get out of that book and start trying to apply it. It really is just knowledge, right? It takes knowledge to be a crackhead.
Come
on now.
Rick James said it best.
Bro, I've seen crackheads teach other people how to be crackheads. I've seen drug addicts teach other people how to do drugs better. That's knowledge, but it's killing you.
Right.
So we're talking about knowledge on another end. We're talking about knowledge that's going to raise you up and improve your life. Man, it don't take long a lot of times for me to listen to people. They sound really good. And you might be 1,000% impressed. But I hear a few things in the beginning of these people's statement, like, man, this person right here, a trick. This is a big trick. And a lot of times I can't even finish listening because I don't want to hear the tricks and lies mixed up with some truth.
That's right.
Right. And that's what I love about these brothers, that if they hear something false come out of me or something that needs to be questioned, they're not going to not tell me.
Right.
That's what the brotherhood is. That's what we're supposed to be. And that's what all of us should accept from somebody that's sincere. I ain't hating on you because I see you driving in a Benz.
Come on.
Hey, man, that dude that I just finished seeing you hanging out with, man, I've dealt with him before, man. Be careful, bro.
That's right. Good
Mhm.
teaching.
And I ain't gonna say it just to you. I'm gonna say it in front of him.
Woo!
I'm not that type of dude that's gonna say something behind somebody's back. I told him to his face his business was shady. That's why I stopped doing business with him. Be careful, my brother.
Mm.
And if you ever need to talk about it, let's get him and let's sit down as a threesome and talk about it so I can explain to you right in front of his behind what he did wrong and why his character and why his principles and his business practices are straight up bullshit. And you can get yourself caught in that same crap because you don't have my experience.
That's right.
So don't take that as hating. Take that as somebody who's been there, done that, had money, lost it, getting it again, had it again, lost it, got it, good, all right, and now happy. Because that's where we get as we get more experience. We get to a place where we're content and we're happy. Not with life. I'm never going to be content with what I've accomplished, but I'm talking about content in what I have and what Allah's blessing me with. It's going to be a whole lot more, but right now I'm content. I'm happy. Ain't hating on nobody, but our focus as a people on money first is a mistake. Better focus on God first. Get to know him. And like I said earlier, if you can get to that self-examination, that self-analysis, and that self-correction and build your self-accusing spirit, believe me, if you stay on that path, all the money you ever want is going to come through your hands eventually. Be patient. Well,
I'll tell you this one thing. I no longer feel bad about almost cussing earlier on the show.
And then you should,
you know, and
sometimes there's only one way to explain things, my brother.
Right. And I was trying so hard not to die when you was talking about getting those answers for the test, man. I almost died. I had to turn the camera. That's why you saw me turn the camera on, because I just had to, just fall out for a minute. But man, this has been, we about to hit almost an hour and a half.
I have something I wanted to.
But yeah, go ahead.
So I had a beautiful question from my mother-in-law, brother Dr. Akili, Sister Sandra Muhammad. But this is what I would like to do because there's a lot to unpack. If she were interested and you available, could I set you two up for a personal consultation to talk about specifically what some of the things she wants to address?
Absolutely.
Right. If you hear me, if you are still watching, Sister Sandra, I will connect you and Dr. Akili on the back end to talk about some of the things that you want addressed on the show. I think would be best served in a one-on-one consultation. If you're still on, you can put a thumbs up in the chat. I know you acknowledge, and inshallah, that's the best course of action.
Can I say one thing before we go to the end?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Doc.
I'm speaking now personally to every member of the Nation of Islam, registered members of the Nation of Islam. I am putting out a challenge to all of us. You got an X, you got a Muhammad, to be an example.
Come on.
Because think about what we're doing tonight. We're having a conversation based on the actions of a man. And he made us have a conversation. Imagine if there were no fat people in the Nation of Islam, no sick people in the Nation of Islam. To me, that's our duty. If you say you believe in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then he told us that you can solve diabetes with no medication. How many diabetics should there be in the Nation of Islam if you've been registered more than a couple of years? He said chronic diseases can vanish. And then in another part, he said they can be cured. If you started on a good How to Eat to Live program just during this pandemic, you could have solved chronic medical problems. So I'm challenging myself, and I'm challenging every person that's a member of the Nation of Islam. Let's start to join forces, unity, because you can always do something better in unity. I know every time we do the Believers Fast, I feel, even though I don't talk to many people, I still feel like it. I know many people are doing this with me right now. I know a lot of people are supporting me in this thought process.
That's right.
So let's start getting little sales of those of us who are holding each other accountable to How to Eat to Live, so that our people can start looking at us and saying, damn, man, you don't never see no fat FOI. You don't never see no FOI, nothing bulging out of his suit, bro.
Come
And
on.
these dudes get out here and it's hot as hell or cold as hell. I ain't
Right.
gonna be in them places, but it's hot as hell, and they just soldier for hours. You see them sweating, drink a little water, they right back at too, right back. I don't see nobody falling out. I don't see nobody running to the doggone hospital after they go and soldier. If we could put that type of example out amongst our people, then people would have less of an ability to take Al Sharpton's reality and start throwing shade in it because they would have so many other examples.
Come on.
It
Come
wouldn't be
on.
one rare example. It would be many
Right,
of them.
right.
And then hearing what he's talking about, you would know the mistakes that he's making. And I'm not here to do that, right? I'm giving him some honor and some praise for what he did do. But based on how to eat to live, he's making mistakes.
Right.
But it's okay. Look what he did.
That's
Look at how much better he has gotten. He can make the adjustments and keep moving. But he did a monumental thing, in my personal viewpoint, to help our people, because the haters are going to be, but those who take him seriously, he's going to affect some change in some people for the benefit, outside of all the other things that we don't like him about. Like, we won't get in that either. But for him to be a public person and to give this type of example is beautiful, because he's changing the way some people think. Imagine if we got on that path wonderfully as well.
Right. He took the time. He took the time to say, like we said in the beginning, I don't love how I look. I don't love myself right now. He made that first decision. Then he took the steps, whether we agree with what he's eating or not. He took the steps to say, this is enough. I'm going to be better. I'm going to look better. So, and first and foremost, I want to add on to what a beautiful wife brought up. Can we close talking about how beginning eating one meal a day starts with prayer? And we mentioned prayer earlier. We talked about how it has to be holistic. You know, prayer is that initial step. It's number one. It cannot go any further without first talking to your Lord.
Come on.
So can we elaborate more on that? Can we talk about the importance of prayer and the structure of getting better?
That's a profound question. You know, the first thing that came to my mind, brother, as you were reading the question is, a nigga can't understand high science.
Right.
And there's no color, no ethnic group, no race that signifies nigga. Nigga is something that's made that way, because a human is born with high intelligence. Nobody teaches a baby how to crawl. Nobody teaches a baby how to stand up and walk. You might do some things that you think are helping. That is the desire and the growth that's automatic in that child. So a nigga is something that people make. And at the end of the day, when you're talking about something like How to Eat to Live, we're talking about high science. We're talking about a 2-part series of books. First book, 119 pages. The second book, 192 pages, that outperform books that I have that have 1,000 pages. So at the end of the day, we're talking about a book that is on another level of thinking. It's on a whole nother vibrational sense of understanding. And in order to get there, God has to be part of the plan.
That's right.
That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad put on the book From God in Person. Because the first thing that has to do is start to twist your mind when you open it up to start reading about how to eat to live, as my brother said. They didn't say what to eat to live. He said how to eat to live. It's a complete guide. But as he says, over and over and over and over again in the book, I got this from God in person, Master Father. I got this from the Savior, Master Father. He never took credit. As many great things as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had done before he put these books together, he never took credit for what he was giving to us. So at the end of the day, I can personally say that the days that I get up and pray at 5 o'clock and do my prayers through the day, I always practice How to Eat to Live much better, because my mind is in tune. My spirit is in tune. And all I want to do is practice these teachings so I can be the best example for anybody on the planet. And if we all take that spirit personally, because prayer is more important than eating, Right?
Right.
The Honorable Muhammad said, without good thoughts, the food isn't even going to do you any good. And the
Come
Quran
on.
says, don't eat unless you pray over the food. So
Come
at the end
on.
of the day, that's the best thing that you can do is give time to God and thank him for everything you have. Gratitude. That ain't a lot to ask for somebody that gave you eyes
Come
and
on.
ears, as that minister said, in love and duty. How can you compare the gift of a brain?
Right.
Is a Bentley as good as your brain?
No,
Come
sir.
on.
17,000 square foot house better than your brain?
No,
It was
sir.
a brain that produced that 17,000 square foot
right.
house. It was a brain that produced that Bentley to be so nice of a ride. Hell, there's nothing on the planet Earth that can compare to your brain. So shouldn't we go there first? Hey, Allah, Jesus, Jah, whatever you call him, I'm so thankful for what you've given me in my life.
Come on. Good teaching. Come on.
And just saying those words will make the brain and the stomach and the heart and the liver and the intestines and the kidneys all start working better in accord and in a balance with each other. Just because you increase the spirit and the calm and the peace and the homeostasis of the body by going to God. That's the reality of prayer. That's a beautiful question, Sister Kiera. I knew you were smart.
Oh, praise is due to Allah. Absolutely. I want to, yes, thank you so much to the Queen. Shout out to Kiera. She's always coming through with the questions. As a matter of fact, she's really co-hosting with us, you know, without actually being on the screen.
She keeps us on task.
Absolutely. And Khalifa be on it too. Khalifa be on it too. Shout out to sis.
She be in the chat. She be in the chat. Give her
hey, y'all about to change the whole subject matter. It's gonna be one meal a day. It's gonna be the greatness of having a wife in your life.
Come on now.
Right. Praise be to Allah. Matter of fact, it's crazy because one meal a day actually gave me my wife. You know, like literally, technically speaking, it was my work with the Navy being and its influence on the body, especially in the setting of one meal a day, that attracted my wife to me. So I appreciate that. I want to give that extra shout out. You know, so one meal a day. Yes.
Hey, Jabril, you know he working on some love tonight, right?
Yeah, he was working on something. I don't know if he did something wrong or something.
I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm just I'm in a grateful mood. It's the gratitude, just the gratitude.
I just wanted to do something real quick before we shut it down. I really want to thank all of our supporters, first and foremost, who are on the platform tonight. Y'all have been awesome. We do this for you all. We do it for ourselves, so we gain as much, if not maybe more, than you all from this platform. We thank y'all for tapping in, asking all the questions, giving the commentary, sharing the content. We're nothing without you all's consumption of what we're trying to put forward as some of the best of mental, emotional, spiritual, psychological, STEM-based food and sustenance for you to chew on, digest, and hopefully share with those around you. You know, this is something that we've done for some time. We're by no means experts in this field, in this sphere, but we love what we do. And we feel that we're sincere in what we do, right? So again, you know, we are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube at The STEM Files. Please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and to TikTok at The STEM Files, as well as at Tariq Cardiac, at Jabril_engineer on Instagram. If you yourself or you know someone who is desirous of being on our platform, please DM us on IG at The STEM Files. Let us know who you are, what you do, what you may like to talk about. We'll send you information for how to schedule your or someone else's show. We are looking for other individuals, disciplines to bring on, and other pieces of content to add. Inshallah, we will be having and highlighting those with trades and trade backgrounds to our platforms. We don't want to show no shade to the trades.
That's right.
Yes.
All right.
Matter of fact, that'll be the campaign. No shade to the trade.
No shade to the trade.
Come on now. It's something about having something that no one can take from you, that is not only a marketable skill, but a nation building skill with your hands that you can do to better yourself, your community, and your nation. So we call in all plumbers, all masons, all carpenters, all electricians,
Get them iron workers up in here.
etc.
Yes, sir.
Iron workers, right? Pipe fitters.
Let's
All
go.
of those. If you are one or you know someone, send them to the STEM Files on Instagram. We love to, pick their brains and showcase that aspect of STEM, because there's so many of us who would love to get involved in the trades. We may not know where to start, what may be the best fit for us. So that's all I had, bro.
And trust and believe, we got more people in the trades than we do in the hard sciences. Right now that's just how our communities look. You can go in any neighborhood and find at least 4 or 5 people within those different areas of trade that we just mentioned. So that's what our community looks like, and we want to also just show our people that these are sciences in itself. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, the hard sciences like the engineers, the biologists, the architects, we really couldn't do our jobs without the tradesmen.
Not at all. I know I couldn't do my job without the trade.
Right, especially an engineer. Engineers damn sure can't do their jobs without the trades.
No.
So we gotta really understand, the value of working together. I know a brother here in Richmond right now in the ranks that I can get on the show every day, all day, and talk about what he does in plumbing. So shout out to brother Kevin. Inshallah, you watching. But because you got devices that electricians use in their day-to-day, and the engineers produce these different types of devices, but without the electrician, it's not going to get installed, or it's not going to be used properly.
So we have to properly.
Exactly.
Maintenance is a big thing. I can build something, I can design something all day, but what happens when that thing starts to rust or it's broke? And I can look at the design, but who's going to come in there and put their hands on things? There's certification for you to be able to turn wrenches and all that stuff. And it's not only people think about plumbing. What people don't understand, plumbing is not just or really solely unclogging. Plumbing is piping. So as a plumber, you can be contracted to be over the piping for a skyscraper. Like all the pipes in the whole building. People don't think about that. You tend to think of the trades as the dirty jobs. Not that they're quote unquote, not, but there's so much that a trade can be applied to. We don't even know. So long story short, look out for the trades on the STEM Files.
Let me say this on that note, please. The conversation that you all just brought in, to me, is the conversation that makes so much sense in the Black community, that merit should rise above title.
Come on.
Because in congruence with what both of you just finished saying, I tell people all the time, if I didn't have a nurse, if I didn't have a MA, if I didn't have other people that work in the hospital or even my personal office, how many people would I have the opportunity to see a day?
Come on.
I got to answer the phone. I got to do the vital signs. I got to draw the blood. I got to do everything. Wouldn't be very many people. So with that help and that team surrounding you, it allows you to do more, to help more people. But at the end of the day, the problem that I see, and it is a problem, and eventually we're going to get over it, but it is a problem, and that is the person with the title, Dr. Akili, gets all this attention. Whereas as a community, we need us all. And in all honesty, the type of statistics that we're getting in America when it comes to health, we shouldn't be looking up to no damn doctors anyway. They're getting the worst damn grades, right?
Come on.
I mean, literally, we don't have time to go into it, but when you statistically look at the medical field, it is absolutely a failure. But yet we still look at people as doctors, and right? Same thing with the law field. We look at lawyers with all this great admiration. Hell, the whole justice system is a goddamn piece of crap, right? So at the end of the day, the point that I'm making, bro, is that both of you are people that I love, that I admire because of the things that you do. And this show is beautiful, man. The people that you all have, the type of wisdom and knowledge that you're allowing to be spread to the people, man, this deserves a hand clap. This deserves people to support it, at the end of the day. But it's going to take all of us. It's going to take Black people to start relieving the frivolous stuff, which is what the whole show is about today, right? Relieving the nonsense and start looking at things for what they are, scientifically looking at things. And when we do that, then I can look at my brother Jabrilliant and appreciate him. Look at my brother Tariq Cardiac and appreciate him, because we all serve a purpose and we all make each other better.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you so much, beloved. Once again, we appreciate your presence and your time. Thank you for responding to my call and my text, and for coming through to talk about the importance of what our brother has demonstrated to the world,
Yes.
and what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been telling us for almost a century now.
That's right.
So we want to thank you for everything that you do for your people and your patients, and everything that you will do. And I just want to also put out there that we have a lot of good, dope guests coming outside of the trade sciences. We have some meteorologists coming through. We have some mental health counselors coming through. So we're going to have, matter of fact, meteorology is the only, and atmospheric sciences are the only sciences we have not touched yet on the STEM files. So
Fun fact, it's also the science. It's the science that initially really sparked my interest in STEM, to be honest.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to be a storm chaser and meteorologist before an engineer.
We was gonna watch Jabril on the news talking about something. We got a chance of rain over here. We got 40%, 50% chance right here. Imagine Jabril doing that on TV. So
he's that storm chaser, like, hey, make a U-turn, make a U-turn.
Right. I would be like, I ain't getting in the car with that man. I am not getting in the car with you.
Hey man, as brother Tariq said, first of all, it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you for inviting me. But brother Tariq always says, don't sleep on that Navy bean. Brothers and sisters, stop sleeping on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
That's right. And trust and believe.
Talking about those of us in the Nation of Islam too, because we
yes.
That's right.
It shouldn't take our brothers and sisters outside the nation to make 1 meal a day popular.
Come on.
That should be us first and foremost. So just wanted to throw that out there. We should, like Brother Dr. Akili said, we should be the beacons, the vanguard of 1 meal a day in a sense.
That's right.
So I want to So I'm just like, on another level right now, because there were some weaknesses that I took part in this week that I'm not too proud of when it came to my diet. So I'm in a mindset of adjusting right now, and I needed this reminder to kind of get me back on track. So thank you for that personal
patience, my brother. Patience and diligence.
Absolutely. All right, family. Well, this has been another edition of the STEM Files. If you'd like to donate to what we do or support anything related to the STEM Files, if you want to keep the show going, none of this is cheap. The graphics are not cheap. The streaming platform is not cheap. Definitely donate to our Cash App at the STEM Files, or text 770-695-7912 to donate further, or have other options, other ways to donate. Jabril, can you talk about the Black Business Highlight before we go?
Absolutely. The Black Business Highlight's a very special highlight today. It is our parent company, Original Man Scientific LLC. What is Original Man Scientific LLC? Well, glad you asked. It is a science and technology company geared towards the development of our communities in terms of research and development. What does that mean? Basically, we desire to take ideas in the community, our own, others, particularly in the Black community, and take them from concept to fruition. We want to unfrustrate the frustrated desire of our community when it comes to creation. A lot of times our people, or people in general, have ideas but don't have the mentorship, don't have the expertise, don't have the mentorship, don't have the support, the equipment to take something from their minds and bring it out to be able to be of benefit to themselves, families, and community. So we're a science technology company where we deal with invention and innovation, consultation, and helping you realize the potential of an idea and bringing it all the way to market. We help out with internal research and development. We have a number of different products that we're hoping to bring to market for the benefit of the community that we are hoping to get some people to try out. Right. So we have external and internal products and services, as well as our shipping container solutions, where we deal in augmented space, whether it be for offices, whether it be for a research and development space, experimentation space, or even a school living or your own living arrangement. So Original Man Scientific, you want to go to by OMS.com. There's science by OMS.com, SCIENCEBYOMS.com. You can also email us at Jabril@omansci.com. That's JABRIL@OMANSCI.com, or Tariq@omansci.com. That's TARIQ@OMANSCI.com for more information. All right. And you can follow us on social media as well.
Right. And the links to all those things, family, is in the description. So if you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description part. And if you're watching on Facebook, it's in the caption. So if you want to just go right to it, go ahead and do that as well. But family, we are done. This has been another edition of the STEM Files, where we highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in the Black and brown community. I'm Tariq Cardiac, your brain engineer, our lovely and passionate, powerful guest, Dr. Akili Muhammad. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace.
Thank you, brothers.
Shalom.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them heavy